Welcome. It's time to board ATD Airlines. Take your seat, strap in, and prepare for takeoff.
Gold dripping off the ropes, family tree colossal, bloodline royal, built on that gospel, legacy deep, no shallow pool splashing, dynasty rise, all doubters get to crashing, I acknowledge the dynasty, crown so heavy, you see in the flames, every move stays steady, from the islands to the stage, the family's decree, bow down, feel the power, this is royalty, royalty. Palm trees whisper where the legends were born, tides carry tales of the mat they adorn, from Rikishi stomp to Amaga's rage, history inked on a champion's page, red lace the carpet, some morning drums beat, echoes of the forefathers under our feet, our feet, our feet, our feet, our feet, our feet. I acknowledge the dynasty, crown so heavy, you see in the veins, every move stays steady, from the islands to the stage, the family's decree, bow down, feel the power, this is royalty, royalty. Fire in the eyes, that's the bloodline's code, generations built the path, we just walk the road.
Hello, y'all, and welcome to episode 3, y'all. Episode 3 of Between the Ropes with Leslie. Okay, so yes, your hostess with the mostest is here. And in this episode, y'all, we are coming upon the end of Black History Month, and I wanted to do something really special to represent ATD for this special month. But anywho, you all are welcome to come in and join. I will come back and we will look at the comments, we will discuss or whatever. But if you're not able to make it, of course, you got the replay, right? So always go back. Tonight's edition is going to be for the men. I really enjoyed it. I can tell you all, I really enjoy doing it because I love history and I love just learning about new people. I love this business and I love learning about the history of our business. So, hey, Ariel. So, having said that, I want to dive right in. Here's the deal. If you miss it, if you don't start at the beginning and you miss it, I'm sorry. I'm not going back. There is the replay. It is on YouTube. So having said that, I'm going to go ahead and get started because we do have people in chat. Thank you all for stopping by. But please stick around and learn something, okay? The Caucasian girl, the white girl, is teaching y'all. Dug deep because she wanted to learn too. And teaching y'all about some amazing athletes and amazing people. Okay, so let's get right into it. So when you're talking about like these athletes, you got to keep in mind their struggles. So we're going to step inside the squared circle to honor these incredible Black athletes who, y'all got to remember, they just didn't entertain us, but they had things going on so that they had to overcome. So they shattered barriers. They redefined what was possible. They carved out indelible legacy in the world of professional wrestling. So they had their struggles, and I'm going to show you some of those about some of those people and how they overcame their struggles to be pioneers and leaders for today's generation of Black athletes and professional wrestlers in no matter which promotion you choose to watch, okay? But there were those that paved the way for them. And so we're going to talk about those, okay? So again, the hardships, you had things you had to go through. So this isn't just about like championship reigns, right? It's about the struggle. It's about the perseverance and the talent and undeniable talent. You know what? These men had to force an industry, not just the industry of professional wrestling, but they had to force society itself to take notice, right? So we got to remember, from those very first pioneers to today's undeniable megastars, right? Undeniable. These Black wrestlers have been instrumental in shaping the spectacle and everything that they're the heart, right? The very heart of pro wrestling. They have the athleticism, they have the charisma, but I'm just going to move on and say, y'all get ready because we are about to deep dive a little bit into this history that is, to me, just as captivating and as powerful as any finishing move could be, right? So let me come over to the chat and see who's here. Listen, and again, guys, I am doing my best, and I really want to just give these men their flowers, okay? So it's interesting history lesson though, because you have the roots, you have the groundbreakers, right? Before any of the bright lights of like a pay-per-view, as we call them back in the day, or PLEs, there were people who paved the way. Picture this. Picture this. It's the late 1800s. So we're talking like maybe 1870 on into like the late 1890s, right? This is a time of like intense racial prejudice. So, and it's at this time when I want to introduce you to a man named Vero Small. So Vero Small was born in 1854. He was a former slave in Beaufort, South Carolina, and he is often cited as the first Black professional wrestler in the United States. Now, he did wrestle as Marshall Oak Pale, but he's better known as the Black Sam of Vermont. So, what y'all think so far? What do you think? Just right. So, anyways, as we were saying, I lost my train of thought. So Vero, you know what? I thought he was kind of cool. So just to have seen him back in the day would have been great because he specialized in what they called collar and elbow wrestling. So if you're a wrestling fan and you see, I'm wondering if that's similar to like the collar and elbow type you hear when they say when they lock up. In other words, when they lock up, if it's that type of wrestling like grappling. But this was a popular style that had been brought over by Irish immigrants, and this was the Black Sam of Vermont. This was his specialty, right? So he began his career in 1870, but his rise to fame started in 1881 when he moved to New York City. Now, everything happens big in New York, right? So he moved to New York City to wrestle in what they called the Bastille of the Brewery. This was a famous, famous sporting club. This was a famous, but it was dangerous. So you can imagine if we go into a club now, and even back in the day, as young as I am, of course, compared to these guys, obviously, you would have your fights, you would have your scraps. But back in the day, can you imagine these burly men? This poor young man is already facing adversity, right? He just wants to go in, he wants to work, and perhaps even have a drink. But this is supposedly one of the, kind of like a sports bar would be now, like a dive bar or whatever, but sports. Y'all know what I'm saying. But this was where his popularity grew. Oh gosh, excuse me. His popularity grew. So he became a superstar by wrestling in this Bastille of the Brewery, a sporting club in New York City. Now, his first match was against a guy named Mike Horrigan. Now, he did lose the match to Horrigan, but became one of Horrigan's trainees. So this man took him under his wing and trained him. Just like why? Because perhaps he saw the talent. And it's what Horrigan would do. He would take him on the county fair circuit and offer up basically like one of those things. Okay, see how long you could stay. It was see how long you could stay in the ring with this man type challenges. Okay, so it was one of those things. But Horrigan was so he really seemed to support Vero on his journey as his trainer, and of course, kind of I guess as a promoter too for him. So nonetheless, Mr. Small won the Vermont Collar and Elbow Championship twice. He won 63 matches between 1882 and 1892. And get this, y'all, he was also considered to be the first wrestling champion in the United States. Not just the first Black wrestling champion, but the first wrestling champion, period, in the United States. His very presence was a challenge, a testament to the sheer will in a world that sought to deny him, right? So do you actually think those people wanted him to succeed? There were people out there trying to tear him down, no doubt, right? But this man, Vero Small, understood that breaking ground he was doing it before anyone understood what that meant, right? Before they understood the concept of breaking ground. Like he was out there making things happen. Do you wonder, like, what would he think now if he could just look and see what wrestling has grown to, right? Okay, but yes, so shout out to back in the day. Let's give him his flowers, Mr. Vero Small, because he's brought it far. He's brought it far. Was for a pioneer, probably took some mess, but gave some mess too. So, but yeah, so hey, there's Trail Sports for You Wrestling. Check them out. Humble Roses, check them out as well. CCN, y'all doing their thing as usual. We keeping it. But no, this was no problem. I appreciate it. Like, I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew I wanted ATD to do something for the month. And it's just fun to me because I like history. I like history and I love this business. So just the history of this business, period. And just to see phenomenal men and women that perhaps most fans would never have heard about, but it's awesome. It's awesome. So listen, if y'all have anyone, I know there's tons of Black wrestlers out there that are phenomenal. So this is only a short list. If I could stay here and talk all night about them. So if y'all have any that I don't mention in the comments that you want to mention them in the comments, and or state your favorite that you support and that you've researched about. Okay. But this has just been fun for me. You know, I love this business and I love people, the pioneers of this business. But to continue, I'm going to quit running my mouth. So next up, we have Mr. Frank Crozier. Now, Frank was born in Jamaica, but he had later moved to Scotland. He was what they call a catch as wrestler. Catch as catch can. Say that 3 times fast, right? Who won the World Middleweight Championship in London. This was in 1909 when Crozier did this, making him one of the first Black world champions in history. Now, notice I said middleweight. I did not say the first world heavyweight champion. I said that he was a world middleweight champion. Okay, so before y'all come correcting me, trying to correct me rather. Let's get that straight. But he was also awarded the prestigious Lonsdale belt. Now, if you are a fan of another sport, you've heard that name. That's usually like associated with boxing, but for this instance this was a high profile wrestling competition. So they allowed this belt to be used and awarded. And Mr. Frank Crozier was the one who won that. So that must have been an honor for him for not only him, but for wrestling to be able to receive that prestigious Lonsdale belt. Now, as for Mr. Crozier, also, because he was becoming this household name and winning these titles, he did have his image featured on collectible cigarette cards of the era with companies such as Ogden's and Taddy and Company. And this made him a household name. This style that I was talking about earlier that he had, the catch as catch can, y'all, was a precursor to our modern day freestyle and our modern day professional wrestling, right? So that is Mr. Frank Crozier. But now, as his wrestling career slowed, that's when Mr. Crozier decided to transition more into boxing. So that I thought that was really interesting as well. Let me move on now. So I did a couple, and I kind of got confused in the research. So bear with me, y'all, because this next gentleman is Regis Siki. He was born in 1899 and was a trailblazing wrestler throughout the 1920s and 30s. Now, he was a pioneer who held such titles as the World Colored Heavyweight Wrestling Championship. And this gentleman also competed in Europe. I wanted to find out more about Regis, but I saw two that were similar, and I didn't want to get that wrong. So I'm pretty sure these facts are factual about him. So I may look more on him later for my personal research just to learn more. Now let me introduce you to Mr. Burl Jack Claiborne. Jack was a master technician of the 1930s and 40s, who had held various Negro World Heavyweight titles. Now, he held these titles during, I don't have much on him, but the big thing about him is he held these titles during a time of segregation. You got to remember, you had that time period where you just had, blacks were here, whites were here, and they had to be in their perspective areas. Like, obviously, we know during the civil rights movement, you couldn't go certain places if you were black. You couldn't do this. You couldn't do that, which is totally wrong. Okay, which is totally wrong. But this happened. This happened earlier for these pioneers. So we're going to read about some things. You saw these wrestlers go in and they would wrestle in white only arenas. Couldn't you imagine that? That would be crazy to me. And I just wonder if they were scared, or if they were just bold and like, you know what, I'm going to do this and I'm going to make a difference. So, but we shall see. So let's continue. I want to find out more about Mr. Jack Claiborne too. So that's another goal of mine. This next gentleman, if you're a wrestling fan, y'all should know Bobo Brazil. So we're going to fast forward a few decades, and we find a man whose name still echoes in the halls of wrestling history. Y'all, I just said it right, Bobo Brazil. So, but Bobo wasn't just a wrestler. He was like a phenomenon, right? Like cultural phenomenon. He had his signature cocoa butt, headbutt. He had his charisma, but yet he had his struggle as well. So Bobo had faced immense racism and segregation throughout his career. In the 1950s and 60s is when he became a mainstream star. And this is when he began to draw huge crowds, right? So let me get in my notes here. So the thing with Bobo Brazil that stuck out in my mind in my research, I did notice is he had won the NWA World Heavyweight title. Notice I said, quote, won it, right? But he refused to basically accept it. He refused it because it was due to an opponent's supposed injury, right? So, and this opponent just happened to be the Nature Boy, Buddy Rogers. Now, if y'all are wrestling fans, I'm getting up into that era to where you've probably started hearing some of these names. Okay, but let's continue. This is good. This is good. I'm proud of this one. Let's see. So with Bobo refusing to take this title was a testament to his character and the complicated racial politics of the time. Bobo Brazil was proof that talent transcends color, even when institutions tried to deny it. So now the thing with Bobo, how I said earlier that some of them would compete in white only arenas. He was one of the first to do this, one of the first black wrestlers to compete in a white only arena. So that was a big thing he had to overcome. with rivalries with the Sheik, with Bruno Sammartino. And finally, in 1994, this man got his flowers, but he deserves so much more, right? So in 1994, he was a WWE Hall of Fame inductee and was introduced into the Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame in 2002. Okay, so that is Bobo Brazil. And then there was Bearcat Wright. Now, Bearcat was a wrestler. He was an agile wrestler. He moved with surprising agility. But the thing with Bearcat is like he wasn't just a wrestler. He was an activist. So he was on the front lines in proverbial fighting in the ring, but also in the front lines fighting for others, for other Black people and for their rights and things as such. But he refused to wrestle in segregated arenas. This put his career on the line for his principles, but he refused. He stood his ground, right? And in 1963, he became the World Wrestling Alliance world champion. Now, this accomplishment for Mr. Wright solidified his place in both as a sporting legend, not only just the sporting legend, but a civil rights icon. So he proved that the fight for equality wasn't just outside of the ring. It was in the ring too. So he made a difference, y'all. He made a difference. He fought for what he believed and for other folks, okay? But so, yes. So this next person, this next gentleman that we want to honor tonight is Ernie the Big Cat Ladd. Okay. Ernie Ladd was a former AFL star who became one of the most hated and successful heels in wrestling history. Gotta have it. So there you go. You're one of your first successful heels in wrestling history. Again, that's another one I have to learn more about. Then you go on, you had Thunderbolt Patterson. This man, the big thing that stuck out to me in my research, what little I found on him, is how they talked about his promo skills. They said he had this rhythmic, this gospel style way of speaking that influenced stars like a Dusty Rhodes. So if you wouldn't have had a Thunderbolt Patterson promo, we might have not ever seen a Dusty Rhodes promo delivered like they were delivered. So the influence is strong there, and it's undeniable. Okay, it's good, it's undeniable, and you just gotta. I love it again. But these men were more than athletes. They were pioneers. They endured unimaginable challenges so that future generations could stand on their shoulders. They led the groundwork brick by brick for everything that came next. So the next segment, let me take a break before we get into this next segment and see, are y'all still here? If y'all have any questions, please participate. Y'all ask questions, share your favorites. Okay, share your favorites. We will be doing the women's episode. Hopefully I can get the women's episode together by the end of the month. I really want to do that one too, because there are some amazing ladies out there that pave the way for those young ladies as well. And I want to cover the Sasha Bianca WrestleMania main event. So I love that match, y'all. That was so good. It was emotional. Oh goodness. Okay, but to continue with the fellas. This next segment is the breaking the glass ceiling. So for decades, the ultimate prize in professional wrestling, the World Heavyweight Championship, it remained out of reach for Black competitors in major promotions. So we all know the history there. If we're fans of any of the major promotions, we know the history as far as that's concerned. But they were champions. They were champions, but none of them were at the very top of the biggest stages. But there was a moment that changed in the industry that changed it. I remember this. It was August 2nd, 1992. Picture it, WCW's main event. Ron Simmons, y'all, a powerhouse from Warner Robins, Georgia. He hoists Big Van Vader onto his shoulders and slams him to the mat for what? The 1, 2, 3. History was made. So Ron Simmons officially became the first recognized Black world heavyweight champion in a major American wrestling promotion. But this wasn't just a championship win. It had signaled a shift, a crack in the seemingly unbreakable glass ceiling. He shattered it. And for every Black child watching, it was proof that they too could reach greatness in the sport of professional wrestling that we all love. It opened up doors and ignited dreams. So you have in this era as well, you had Junkyard Dog. Now I remember, like for me, I remember Junkyard Dog, but he was the face of the Mid-South Wrestling and one of the most popular WWE stars in the 1980s. You had Bad News Brown, who was a legitimate Olympic judo medalist, known for his no-nonsense loner persona. I wasn't able to find much on them, but I'm sure you could because they're newer superstars. So if you do like newer, we're not talking back 1900s and 1920s anymore. So this is newer, more modern day superstars. You had, let's see. So of course you come on down through time, through the 90s. You have, of course, Mr. five-time WCW champion and WWE Hall of Famer, Booker T. That's right. He successfully transitioned from a tag team, right? He was one of those who transitioned from a tag team to a top-tier single star. And now trains, of course, we know he trains future stars at his Reality of Wrestling school and promotion in Texas, which is also, we have a product, of course, you all know here at ATD, who we talk about. Yes, the nation, who we talk about. And I'm going to cover them, I think, a little bit, TJ, here next. Booker T has had hands in training. Actually, he did train Zilla, so he trained Zilla Fatu as well. And moving on, let's see. We're gonna get to some of like the factions as well. So we'll definitely cover the nation of domination. But next up. I wish Monty was in here because we talking about her mans. We talking about the great one. We talking about Dwayne Johnson. That's right, The Rock, y'all. Became the first third generation Black and Samoan superstar, and is arguably the biggest star in the history of the industry. So let's think about though these breakthroughs, all these accomplishments. They just weren't limited to individual superstars. Speaking of The Rock, let's not forget the incredible Soul Patrol, Rocky Johnson and Tony Atlas. In 1983, they carved their names into history and became the first Black tag team to capture the WWE Tag Team Championships. Their athleticism and undeniable talent paved the way for future tag teams of color. Of course, with multiple reigns, we go back to Booker T, right? Continue more on Booker T from his early days in Harlem Heat. Harlem Heat with his brother Stevie Ray. And of course, he had his incredible singles run that I talked about a few seconds ago. But this run culminated into a King of the Ring victory. And he saw multiple championships in both WCW and WWE. As for Booker T, this journey is legendary. A six-time, says here, six-time world champion. His King Booker persona is considered to be pure gold, showing charisma and athleticism and an unmatched ability. Now, I like this this word reinvent, because that was one time that he reinvented himself to the highest level. Like he definitely changed his persona when he hit that King Booker era. And someone like Booker T did not just break the glass ceiling. He shattered it, y'all. Shattered it. TJ, were you talking about so Booker T, he trained Trick as well? I did not know that. Thank you for sharing. That's why we stay in here, and that's why we do these. I really didn't know that. But of course, see, I could learn more. And I love it because Trick's special. He is awesome, y'all. I love me some Trick Williams. I do, y'all. Oh, goodness. Okay, let's see. So now this next one, we're going to talk about the evolution of the stables, of the superstars, of the style. So as wrestling evolved, so too did the representation, right? We saw the rise of groups, powerful groups, not only entertained us, but they often had to make us think, y'all. They made us think, which is what I think the Nation of Domination did, right? But that not only entertained, but they were often challenged the racial dynamics within the industry of professional wrestling. Again, like I said, enter the Nation of Domination in the late 90s. So this faction led at many different times by Farouk. If you remember Farouk, that was Ron Simmons. What did we say about Ron Simmons? That's your first recognized Black champion, world champion in a major company, right? But it was also led later by a young and, yes, electrifying Rock. They used a blend of militant imagery and unapologetic Black pride to make their presence known. They weren't going to ask for anybody for respect. Guess what? They were demanding it, and they were taking it. And in doing so, they provided a platform that launched one of the biggest stars in entertainment history. Guess what? Again, The Rock. Let's see. TJ says, let me go ahead and show this comment here. Did the King Booker run occur after the controversial run occurred with Triple H? You know what? I don't know. Again, I could research that, couldn't I? I don't remember. I remember, it's so weird with me remembering wrestling stuff because, if we talk about, I can remember it, but I can't remember necessarily a lot of times the scenarios or the time. I like how Monty can pop off WrestleMania. Oh, that happened at WrestleMania 31. I'm like, what? I can't remember all that, but I remember the match. I can't remember. I'm not good with the stats and statistics like she is and all that. And the side notes, like this question here. But okay, so good deal. So Booker did train Trick. Awesome. So yes, they this launched the career of The Rock. This because that's when he became more outgoing and more outspoken and more into growing into his character. Is when he was with the Nation, but that of Domination. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to that. I like Nation of Domination Rock. So we're going to fast forward to the 2010s, and a group that emerged completely redefined what it meant to be Black and successful in wrestling. I'm talking about none other than Kofi Kingston, Big E, and Xavier Woods, who were collectively known as what, y'all? The New Day. Right? So, but they weren't just talented, y'all. They were hilarious. They were athletic. They were innovative. And one thing they did, they brought humor, they brought pop culture references, these big personalities all the time while they broke records as the longest reigning tag team champions in WWE history. They proved that Black excellence could be colorful, joyful, and ultimately dominant, right? Ultimately, because they were amazing at the same time. And it did not matter if it was a 6-man tag or what combination of the New Day had the tag match. It was a New Day win. And the personalities, again, you had different personalities that just meshed so well. They were fun. It was great. It was great, right? Let me see, since we're talking about some of these that you younger guys know. All right. Yeah, so y'all come in. Shout out to y'all. Thank y'all for joining me. I know I didn't promote this like I wanted to, but I wasn't for sure if I was able to do. Okay, so in more recent times, we have the Hurt Business with MVP Bobby Lashley, Cedric Alexander, and Shelton Benjamin. Now, they presented like a different kind of dominance. Lashley was a multi-time world champion and a dominant powerhouse both in WWE and MMA. Benjamin is widely considered to be one of the greatest pure athletes to ever step in a ring. I wouldn't argue that. I'd argue that with anybody in his favor, of course. They were suave, they were sophisticated, they were ruthless. The Hurt Business embodied powerful, no-nonsense Black excellence that commanded respect and titles during a challenging era for professional wrestling. Now, these factions, they weren't just collections of individuals. They were statements. And I like that statement because, like, if you notice, each faction had an agenda, they had a purpose, they had a reason for being, they had a statement. They were statements, and they showcased, like, they were diversity of talent. They showed the power of unity in the New Day. You know, even in like the Nation of Domination, right? You saw the unity because they all connected for one primary goal, right? They connected with the audiences, whether you booed them, whether you loved them, on multiple levels. And they proved that representation definitely comes in many forms. It doesn't have to be so hard. Sometimes it can you can make your statement by being fun, by being colorful, by being exciting, but it was all necessary, right? It was all necessary to carry these tag teams, these men into the future, right? And speaking of the future, I'm almost done, y'all. I don't want to keep you, but I'm almost done. Shout out to the non in the chat. I hope y'all have enjoyed. If you're coming in late and you didn't watch the first part, we started way back. We went way back to like the 1800s. So y'all missed, and I'm going to research some of those men myself. Again, I love history. I love wrestling. So it's going to be a joy. I want to find out more about those men. But nonetheless, let's see here. So we're going to be moving on into the future. Okay. You do not want any more of that mess, but yes. So these are the future, the ones that's carrying the torch in 2026 and beyond. I saw TJ mentioned Trick Williams in the chat. So that's one of those superstars that's doing just that, right? Now you have the Trailblazer, their legacy and their champions continue to thrive. And the future of Black excellence in professional wrestling is brighter than ever. We're seeing a new generation of superstars not just making their mark, but defining the entire industry. And the first one we'll talk about, we'll say, when you're a guest in his house, you better come correct. So when we're looking at someone like Swerve Strickland, his journey at the top of AEW has been incredible. When he says Swerve's house, it's not just a catchphrase, y'all. It's a statement. Swerve is the complete package, incredible in-ring talent and in-ring ability. He has the charisma, and he has a unique style that resonates with all of us fans, no matter where we are from. Let's see. Swerve is a main event player. He's a main event player, pure and simple, and was the first Black man to hold the AEW World Championship. I am not surprised at that stat right there. I'm going to give you now a little hint of just to expect on what to expect on the women's side with this, a quick little tidbit with this next person. Jade Cargill herself has been nothing short of phenomenal. She had a dominant, undefeated streak in AEW and made her a very high-profile jump to WWE. This young lady possessed the aura of invincibility, a powerful presence, and star quality that's impossible. Y'all, tell me when Jade don't walk through that curtain that y'all don't take notice. She's a game changer that is setting new standards for power and presence. And I will cover more on Jade in the women's episode, okay? So, and finally, the future is increasingly incredibly exciting. And I've listed here some of my faves with the likes of course, we were talking about Swerve in AEW. In WWE, we have talents like Trick Williams. We have Oba Femi, y'all. Oba Femi. We have the young OG himself, Mr. Bouncy, Javon Evans. And so let's go back and talk about Trick Williams. Trick has this charisma. He has this swagger that just captures us, right? And he's a star, y'all. Oba Femi. What can I say about Oba Femi? Oba he's physically imposing for one. He's an incredible athlete, and he's ready to hold. You know what? Oba's going to hold championship gold on the main roster real soon. I gotta believe that. And if he doesn't, they've messed up, and they need to just. Yeah, TKO get it together and put some championship, put some gold on that man here soon, okay? That is not a request. That is a demand. Oba Femi needs to be a champion. Okay, and then, of course, like I said, there is the young OG himself, the bouncy one, Javon Evans. So the future for this talented and undeniably athletic, high-flying superstar is very bright. Javon is showing us that it's not just the veterans who can bring or get it done in a ring. So as I said, no doubt the bouncy one will be a champion as well in this industry someday soon. And of course, there's Mello, who, how can I forget him, right? Carmelo Hayes, straight from NXT, y'all. He came and he showed out. We just got to get him that big break. I don't like what they're doing with Carmelo. You know, it's great with Oba. They doing good with Javon, but they have had Carmelo a long time. Get it together, WWE. Give Mello his break. He deserves it. Not all this foolishness that he's had to do, in my opinion, but that's just me. Let's see. And TJ says, I forgot to say that WWE, let's see, let me go ahead. I can read it better on here, TJ. So, New Day, right, by making Xavier Woods a world champion so that Kofi, Xavier, and Biggie have at least won the world title at least once. So all three, yes, I would like to see. Have they? So they haven't all three won the title yet? Okay. They need to all three win that title. I'm a big advocate for the New Day. I love the New Day, y'all. Even in their mess. We love the New Day. But yes, make it to where they're all three champions, and do something with Carmelo. The young man is talented. He deserves better, in my opinion, than what they're doing with Carmelo. But nonetheless, these are the faces of tomorrow, and they are already making a huge impact today. They are carrying the torch with pride and with incredible talent to match. These athletes and many others, they're not just building on a legacy, but they are making it bigger. They are changing it and ensuring that Black history in professional wrestling is a vibrant and always changing story of triumph and an unmatched skill, and that it will always be a main event. So as we wrap up this special episode, I hope that you all have gained a deeper appreciation for the incredible contributions of Black athletes in this amazing sport that we all love. From the forgotten pioneers who fought against segregation just to compete, to the champions who broke barriers, to the modern day icons who redefine what a superstar can be. All of their impacts have been immeasurable, and they've all played a big part in their own way. So Black history in professional wrestling isn't just a side note. Like I said, it's a main event. It's time we all take notice. But it's a testament to resilience, to talent, and the enduring power of the human spirit to overcome adversity and achieve greatness. Let's continue to celebrate these legends, acknowledge their struggles, and cheer for the future generations who will undoubtedly continue to make history inside and outside of the ring. So thank you for joining me on this journey. I often wonder, what would someone like a Vero Small think of someone like a Trick Williams? What would someone like a Frank Crozier think of someone like a Javon Evans? What would Bobo Brazil think of Obafemi? Wow. What would oh goodness, what would Junkyard Dog, what is he thinking, or what would he think about these superstars now in the business? So I'm super, super proud of them. TJ says his hot take is he thinks Trick Williams will be a world champion before Oba and Carmelo Hayes. Yeah, Trick's, yeah, he's undeniable. But I want to see Oba with a title so bad. I do, y'all. I'm a big cheerleader of Obafemi. We all are at ATD. We love some Oba. We love the ruler. And I can't do it, but anyways. So I'm going to do some Did You Knows with you all real quick. Did you know, so the heavyweight first, so how we did talk about Ron Simmons in 1992. But did you know that in 2019, Kofi Kingston became the first African-born WWE champion in history? His Kofi Mania win at WrestleMania 35 is still considered to be one of the most emotional moments in wrestling history. And with the royal legacy, the Junkyard Dog was so popular. So did you know that he was so popular in the Mid-South Territory in the 1980s that he was often the top draw over world champions? He was the first wrestler also to have his own entrance music, which he came out to Another One Bites the Dust, changing the way wrestlers walked to the ring forever. And then, of course, there was the Olympic standard himself. We cannot do a Black History men's wrestling episode without mentioning this world champion, the world's strongest man, Mark Henry, who was the world's strongest man for real. So he's the only person to ever hold the drug-free American weightlifting and powerlifting super heavyweight records at the same time. And wrestling fans who could forget the legendary Hall of Pain run late in his career? All right, y'all. Okay. So I hope y'all, even though it's just a few of us, and that's my fault because I did not promote it. I hope y'all enjoyed learning a little bit of history. I did my best on it. But I enjoyed what I did. Okay, I enjoyed what I did, and it was an honor to do it. Because it to hear of a man like a Vero Small and like Frank Crozier and Big Daddy Siki and all them, just to imagine, what they went through. And then you come on down, you got, the Soul Patrol, you got Rocky Johnson, and I could go on. And I probably forgot some wrestlers, so forgive me because I'd be here all night, right? I just tried to, through my research, tried to go back as far as I could, and to get those first, to introduce y'all to the first. And then I tried to, just come on through time with some, and put a spotlight on some of the performers that we've seen throughout our childhoods, and then into the future that we're going to see, right? I didn't know if I wanted to do it. I'll be honest. I didn't know if I wanted to do it because I didn't know how this one was going to go, but I really enjoyed doing this one. And I got to give the women their flowers too. Okay. I got to give the Black women their flowers too, because they have some stories as well that deserve to be told, especially those Black female wrestling pioneers. They deserve to have their story shared. So, and I'm honored to be the one to be able to research that and share that with you all. But nonetheless, we will have a little bit of a surprise for you Monday. I'm going to go ahead and just update it and close it out. I hope y'all enjoyed. You can find us on X at ATD Podcast 23, IG at acknowledge_the_dynasty, TikTok acknowledge.the.dynasty, and all across social media platforms. Guys, our episodes that we put out, our podcast episodes themselves, are also on the YouTube. You know what? Subscribe and set your notifications. Let's see. Today is Saturday. Again, and I should have said this already. If it's okay, I'm going to say Happy Black History Month. If that's okay. I've always wondered if that's okay, but okay. I'm going to say it. Again, honored to do the episode. Honored to do the women's episode. As far as ATD is concerned, we will be back Monday, y'all. It's just 2 more nights. You got 2 more sleeps, and then ATD will be back. So, and we got a surprise. That's all I'm going to say. And I want to say something so bad, but I don't want to, but I'm so excited. It's been a month. That's all I'm going to say, but I'm super excited. And listen, y'all, have a great night. TJ, I hope we going to see you Monday, right? Anyone in chat? Is it TJ? Is it just you? We going to see you Monday? Bring some friends. No spoilers. Okay, no spoilers, but I'm excited, y'all. That's all I'm going to say. But it was a complete honor again to do this. So, yes, sir. And I want to see you. I miss you when you're not there. We all do. I miss my regulars when they're not here. And you know what? I'm going to try to do better to promote the women's Black History Month episode. I really had a hard time of whether I wanted to do it because I was afraid of what people would think. But when I want to give flowers, I shouldn't worry about what people think, right? So that's why we went ahead forward and did it. So I'm proud of it. But until next time, y'all. I guess the women's episode will be episode 3, part 2 of the Black History Month, and then next month I'll go ahead and I know we were planning on to do the magic of house shows, but then that could be for March, and that's already prepared. That episode's I've done research. That episode's done. So that's what I got planned, y'all. ATD will pick up on Monday. We'll do Mondays and Fridays. We got TJ, correct me if I'm wrong. We got Elimination Chamber this week, I believe, but that is it. That is it, y'all. I love y'all big for tuning in. Keep tuning in and supporting ATD. Support us as we support our favorite wrestling family, as we support, shout out to the On a Wi-Fi 2 Dynasty for allowing us. We hope the podcast has been amazing for you guys, but I'm not going to take it away anymore from this episode. All right. So I love y'all big. Go back and listen. Research some of these people. Research and learn more for yourself. Okay. It's nice. That's why I'm the historian of ATD. I try to get y'all some history. But love y'all. Good night. If you're in the path of any cold weather, please stay safe. Please stay warm. If you are in a place where it's already cold, please stay safe. Please stay warm. And drink some extra cocoa or coffee or hot tea for me. Okay? I will see you all Monday. I love y'all. You know I do. All truth, no lies. Yes. Okay, real quick before I go, thank you for posting. Shout out to Zilla Fatu last night. TJ says last night that he got acknowledged by MJF. That boy don't ever acknowledge anybody. So you go, Zilla. You go. The baby got acknowledged by MJF. See, he knows. He knows. But we'll see you Monday, guys. I'm out. I love y'all big. Okay? Be safe. Be safe and enjoy the rest of your weekend.